not? Okay, now it's working. So today we're going to be having a look at the article that we read on Tuesday, which was another one about AI. I know I've chosen a lot of articles about this recently, so I think I have to give it a little bit of a rest after today. But this article I thought was interesting because it was focusing more on some of the positive ways that we can use AI right now, instead of maybe more focusing on, worries about the future and is AI going to replace us and these kinds of ideas. So I thought this one was interesting because we're focusing more on the positives of it and also about how helpful it can be. The actual ways that maybe AI can help us at work instead of maybe threaten us at work. So to start off with, Konstantin, I know that you were here when we read it. Yusuf, I don't know if you had a chance to read it or not. I don't think you were here on Tuesday when we read it together.
No, I wasn't. And I had no chance to read the topic by myself. So now I'm just trying to read as fast as possible so I can get, I can know what topic we are going to talk about.
No problem. Let's see if Konstantin can help out with that as well. Konstantin, what do you remember?
To be honest, not too much. So it was about AI and about the maybe impact that AI can have to our work days and at the very start of article, ChatGPT mentioned as example of AI, and also the description what is ChatGPT and AI in general and how it can help us, and also about some workers worried about they can lost their job, but meanwhile AI also create new workplaces. So some professors also told us about his or her his experience, how how he use AI in his everyday routine and for his job, and also maybe I remember them mentioned that AI was invented at as some digital assistant for everyone. So also maybe impact to recruiting and human resources manager, and how AI help them to ask to seek a new personnel and new people, and also maybe at the end the AI is just start to develop, and it is only just at the very beginning. So we don't know how it possibilities yet, but the author say the hope about the great opportunities and the great expectation in general, how we will interact with AI in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Yeah, there was kind of, I would say there were maybe four different main ideas. It wasn't so long, this article, I don't think. There were probably like four main ideas. The fact that AI can kind of function as a personal assistant for us. So maybe helping us, with ideas and solutions for different things. So it's more like an assistant for us rather than taking over our job. The idea that we could use it maybe to help with accuracy and, maybe checking for mistakes and things like this, that it could create new jobs, like other types of new technology and, industrialization has in the past. And also the idea that maybe this is just going to be like one more skill that we need to learn. So, in the same way that maybe in the past we had to learn how to use computer or an email, AI is really just going to be like another skill like that we'll need to learn to be able to do whatever job it is that we're doing. So I think it might be a good idea for us to maybe talk about all those, like each of those different sections, each of those different elements, because I think there's probably a lot within each of those different things to talk about. So let's maybe start with this idea as like AI as like a personal assistant. How do you see this idea? How do you see this working? What do you think about this idea that we could use AI as if it was like an assistant to us? Yusuf?
Well, I will start with saying great idea. What I meant is, for me personally, I already start to use AI, like since the OpenAI launched the ChatGPT, and I didn't use it. Fortunately, I didn't use it before that, although I know that it exists before that. But to be honest, me myself, I just realized how it works after the AI, after the ChatGPT came to the existence. Anyway, so but it's a very great tool, I believe, to assist you. Sorry, I use it a lot and several times, especially when it comes to some stuff like some people. I helped my friend to do his final report. He missed some tools and probably he wasn't with a laptop, for example. So I used my laptop in order to make his final report, and I used ChatGPT for some assistance, and it did it very, very great. And it's going to you are not going to waste a lot of time. It's going to the language is going to be very, very eloquent, and it's going to be even there is some others idea that you will take it from AI. It's going to show you how your report, for example, going to be more organized, give you some idea how the reader going to or the examiner how is going to see your reports and all this stuff. So yeah, it's very, very great tool, I think, and it's very, very perfect assistant for the human. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. I'm glad you've had a little bit of experience with it as well, because maybe that means you can share some more like examples or different ways that you've used it. Because I think there's also, from talking to different people, I think some people maybe aren't really sure how they can use it. I've seen a lot of people who are kind of using it just like Google, just to kind of like look things up. And then have said, AI isn't so great, it does the same thing as Google does. I don't really see what the point is. So I think it's interesting to have some examples maybe of different ways you can use it, because I think maybe a lot of people aren't really sure about how it can be used. Konstantin, what do you think of this idea of using it as a personal assistant? What are your thoughts on it?
To be honest, I am personally not thrilled by this idea, and I have no great expectation from AI. And maybe let me please quote one of my favorite writers. It is Marcel Proust. So he said, let us leave pretty women to men with no imagination." So it's about, maybe my current tasks. I don't need such kind of assistant to maybe create some creative things, and maybe it is depends on the field where you work in, and something like that. So I'm not sure the absolutely essence of my job should depend on AI, because it's just a sensitive topics and problem, and we have to care about people or something like that, and I prefer to speak in with real people and communicate with real people, not with the AI. But at the same time, AI have some advantages if we compare human and artificial intelligence. So AI have maybe lots of perfect abilities and opportunities that people have to pay much more time to resolve some problems or cover some tasks. So that I think about assistance, but in my current and my routine every day, maybe if it is for now, because we here have some problems and they are much more serious than using AI assistant. But in my current life, I don't use it. But to be honest, it is not true, because I use it because I have no choice. AI now, you mentioned, for example, Google, and if we say about Google search machine, it is also contains AI. So it's particularly true that Google is equal to AI, and for example, Bing and different searching system, and they already contain AI, and I don't think it is just our enemy of humanity, but I have no great expectation, because also some it is kind of it's called in marketing a SWOT analysis. So it's about strength and weakness, opportunities and threatness, and if I just a glance try to analyze the AI phenomenon, so it have an advantages and disadvantages, and also some threats, or I am not sure how it will be in English. So it's about just phenomenon, and we have no choice. We have no stop the time. So if you can't avoid it, you have to head it, to lead it. I mean, thank you.
Yeah, we have that phrase in English: if you can't beat them, join them. The idea that, if you're not better than something, you should join them. You should do it as well. And maybe that's part of the idea here.
Yes, and also I would like to say another phrase. It is fake it till make it. It is also about my attitude to AI.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think in a lot of ways, even people who maybe think that they haven't used AI, they've probably used it without even realizing it. Because this idea of, like, I think Youssef, you were saying, AI, even though we feel like it's something that's really new, because it became really, I guess, people started talking about it a lot since OpenAI kind of started with ChatGPT and everybody started talking about it. They've actually been using, or AI has actually been used in lots of different things, and we've even got like the basics of it in things that we've probably been using for years and years now. Even things like automated services on different things. When you call the company, for example, okay, it's obviously not quite so complicated as the AI that we're starting to use now, but it's kind of like the origin of it, right? It's like the basics of it. So even if we think maybe that we're not using AI, we probably are using it. We just don't realize that we're using it. I did it one time, Konstantin, I think. Let's see if I can get it right the rest of the session. I have a big problem with these 3 letters together. I don't know why. But anyway, the other aspect of this, when they were talking here about using it as personal assistant, and actually, Youssef, you mentioned this a little bit as well when you were talking about like your friend's report. I wanted to ask you both what you think about using it in this kind of way. So when we're talking about like school and university and academics, how much do you think we should be using AI or we shouldn't be using AI? Like, do you think it's a free-for-all, use it as much as you can? Do you think there are some things that maybe it's okay to use it, and other ways maybe, maybe you shouldn't be using it? Or how do you see the role of AI in like academic studies, let's say? Youssef?
I think there is no problem to use it, because every time, especially when it comes to report, for example, there is a presentation, okay? And presentation, usually it has to be presentation all the time. It has to be oral, and you need to talk by yourself, and you are going to present what you wrote in the report, and they usually going to check if you do understand what you're saying or not. So I believe that AI can help you only in a way that you organize your report, you write it in a proper way. It helps you, for example, if you are not familiar with the technology tools, for example, I'm not sure, like Word or Excel, PowerPoint, or any tools that nowadays you have alternative of these tools, like it works also with AI. For example, Word, you have alternative that work with AI. But what I'm trying to say is it will give you a lot of sources again. It will give you a lot of helpful idea. It's going to correct your format, or it's going to correct your organization of the report, to help you a lot. But on the other hand, the academy, or let's say this universities or any school institution, they must to be adaptable with the challenge of today, because this is a thing that you cannot get rid of it. You cannot make students using or stick on the traditional way and not using AI, because students also want to make it very fast. They have no problem to make it very fast, very effective. very good language, using very good language. So I believe it has no problem, but it depends on the person. If the person want to learn, it could be very great tool to him. For me, for example, I learned a lot with AI. I learned how to be concise when you talk. For example, when you try to talk, be very concise. It gives you a lot of advice when it comes to presentation. Trying, for example, one of the advice that I have learned is to try to avoid repetition, and that's what I'm working on right now. I'm not like 100% skillful on it, but I'm trying to. But it gives you a lot of ideas. It can help you the way you present your report. So, for example, I don't see it as you are cheating if you are a trustful person, and if you are a person with moral. I know you cannot, academies, they cannot make sure if you are a trustful person or not, or a trustful student, for example, but they still have the ability to check if this guy or this student made it like in a good way or not. So unfortunately, the universities or schools, or even the work, or even the hiring people, like people who hire, like the human resource workers, they have a new challenge already. A CV, for example, resume. You can make a good resume with AI, a very good resume. So they need to check with them, and they need to create and be creative and have new tools to check if this is from his abilities or his capacity or not. But I still believe that they if they are intelligent enough, they can check if this guy what is saying is true, and only the ChatGPT or AI just help him to make it 100% perfect or not. That's what I believe. Thank you.
Okay, interesting. And I think I kind of agree with what you're saying there. I think if it's used as a tool to maybe help you to kind of provide ideas if you get stuck, or to make suggestions on how you can improve it. If you're using it maybe as a tool to help you understand something, okay, I think that's fantastic. I think that's okay. If you just, for example, went to your essay question you have to write and copied and pasted it into into the chat section and asked it to write the essay for you, and then you submitted that, okay, that's a different story. But the way you're describing it, Youssef, you're talking about more using it as a tool to maybe learn, to improve what you're doing, and to be able to maybe kind of like level up in a way what you're doing, but what you're doing. So you're kind of like adding on an extra layer, maybe refining it a little bit more. It's not that you're getting the AI to do everything for you. Again, it's that idea of using it as like an assistant, not kind of replacing you altogether. Konstantin, what do you think about this? How do you feel about like using AI with like academic type of work?
I'm not sure about academic types of work with AI, because I prefer AI use AI not as an idea generator, but someone or something that help us to implementate our ideas. And maybe this is the different because if we say some automation of process or using things simpler, it's we have in one hand, but in another hand we have students that generate their report and they do it using simplest way. So also it's about some diploma works and checking to the plagiat. I am not sure there is word like this exists in English. So it's maybe I imply some cheating that student often use to make thing easier for them. So my idea, we have use it only as a tool that help us to make some tasks and make it easier. But if we say about some creative work and also work which related to communication with another people, I'm not sure, but for me AI is not a good advisor because it is just maybe standard way, and it makes humanity less creative. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we have to think carefully about what kind of tasks we ask it to do. Maybe so that we get a chance to focus more on like the creative parts of it, or the parts that are more important for us to focus on, and let the AI maybe take care of some of those other parts that are more just about processing things or checking things, this kind of action, so that we get to focus on kind of the important part of it. Youssef, I could see you typing. Did you want to add something?
No, I wanted to say that most of the time, the lazy people, they will not search for a technology tool to make their job be done. So they have no time. Because they are lazy, they will not search for it. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, as my experience, well, I'm going to talk about my society. That could be different, okay, from society to another. What I'm noticing right here, the people that are curious about AI, most of the time they have some knowledge about technology tools, and so they are interested in this world. I'm not saying other people, they don't know about it. They know, but the people who always are trying to know more is the people who are in the field, or the people who they are interested to be adaptable. And this is the thing that's very, very, very interesting. And this is the challenge that AI, for example, put the world in. The people who are going to be very good with AI, or let's say they use it in a proper way, they are the people who are focusing or know a lot about adaptability. So what I'm trying to say is, it must, or it forces us to be adaptable. Other people, they will not be adaptable. They will find a lot of struggle. Let's say, for example, about the reports. Let's say, because we brought this topic, I'll try to explain more. If I am a student and I knew about AI, and I knew the AI can help me a lot, and sometimes if I want to cheat, I would cheat. Okay, and I can guarantee that the college or the school here, they will never know that I cheat, because they are not adaptable. It's about change of the off or.
That comment there is for Konstantin, not for you, Youssef. Keep going.
Okay. So I said, if I want to cheat, I would cheat easily, because the universities and the school administration, Most of them, they are not adaptable. But if you are adaptable, you will figure out if this work is just purely from AI and this student has nothing to do and he did nothing for this report. It's because the administration wasn't aware about what is happening in the world. So what I'm trying to say is adaptability, it's a must right now. You need to know what is going on in the world, sorry. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to add. That's thing that I'm trying to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, interesting. So this kind of jumps to the last part of the article, what they were talking about, the fact that the people who are really going to benefit from this are the people who maybe aren't so scared about interacting with AI. It's more the people who are going to try to work out how it can be used and how it works and what it is. Yeah, show this kind of flexibility in learning new things and being able to change what they're doing or adapt to different processes. What do you think about this, Konstantin? Do you think that it's kind of important? You said that you're not such of a fan of it at the moment. I know. But do you think it's important to learn how to use it and how it can be used, even if you're not using it so much yourself?
Yes, I think it is important because let me to compare, for example, my routine as an architect. I have to draw in manually a lot of drawings about layouts and different documentation, architectural documentation. Nowadays we have special software like an AutoCAD and Revit and Archicad and like that. So it is also part of automation of process, and maybe AI is my attitude to AI is just maybe some new technology and new software we have to use. We have no choice because it's will be strange when you, for example, in current situation in the present time, I will make only manual drafting, so it looks archaic and it's not normal. It is moreover, it is not so effective, and maybe it is future, and we have to change, and the times change, and we also have to change change with it times and technologies, and provide it, and even maybe just trust to use it, but not make us the most important instrument, but one of the instrument that it's just an opportunities we have to use to improve our effectiveness and maybe make some process easier than before. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think thinking about it as like that idea of it just being like another new software to use, I think that's kind of a good way to think about it, because it is in a lot of ways. It's just maybe a little bit more flexible than than most other softwares. Youssef?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. So what I wanted to add is, I forgot. No, hold on. I want to add something, which is, recently I read an article about how AI going to affect the work or the job world. There are going to be some work or jobs, it may vanish because of the AI. And this is not nothing. This is not a theoretical thing, but it's already started to be shown. Like, for example, jobs, for example, or work, like, for example, I'll talk about my field. The people who work in a restaurant. Now, with the AI, for example, if the restaurant going to have a like very good financial section, or let's say financial power, they could easily fire some workers. They do like, for example, komi. We call it komi. Komi, it's the last once you are graduated, you will be a komi. Okay, this is classification. And then you have a chef, and then you have a executive chef, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I'm trying to say, there is some positions, they will be disappear. No, komi, it's writing like this. Okay. This is a French, I believe. Yeah. So komi chef. Yeah, exactly. So there will some position going to be disappear with the time, and you have nothing to do against. Why? It's because the machine could perform better than you, and it's going to be very accurate, and it's going to be very like doing the job better than you, like 100%. But the thing is, as a chef, even the chef could be in a danger. But I noticed that the people who trying or will stand against this is chefs, for example. They are adaptable, which means they need to know a little bit about how machine working. So in order to do this, you need to study a lot of things related to the machine learning, for example. Because I saw a little, I tried to have some knowledge about how AI works. It's not an easy process. You have a lot of things to learn. You have, for example, Python to learn, the language, the computing language. You have not only AI to learn, but you have also deep learning. And this is, I believe, it's a procedure you need to go through in order to understand how AI works. So it's require a lot of efforts, and it's required a lot of a lot of work to do. So what I'm trying to say is, only people who will be adaptable in the future will be able to stand against these dangerous tools. It is dangerous, and it's horrifying at the same time. It's very helpful, yes, but it is very very dangerous for people who are not adaptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the thing. There are jobs that maybe we don't think of, because I think when we think of AI and the jobs that it might replace, we immediately think of kind of computer jobs, right? We think of like processing jobs, things where people are mainly based on a computer. But obviously it can be used in other areas as well, and connected to other types of machines that we already have for other types of jobs too. I mean, automation is already used a lot in the food industry when we think about like packaged food or food that we would have in the supermarket. So the idea that you could maybe have some of those kinds of machines and bring it into like a restaurant environment connected with AI isn't really so far away. But as you said, Youssef, there's a way of maybe being able to embrace it and to be able to use it in a positive way, or maybe kind of fighting against it. But there is that kind of learning curve with it as well. Some of it I think will be very simple for people to use, like the GPT. Okay, I mucked that one up. But that, when it's just kind of asking simple questions and doing it, okay, maybe that's a bit easier. But there are probably more complicated ways that we can use AI and this kind of generative AI that would be a little bit more complicated to use and to program the way that you want it to work, to be able to actually teach AI first what you want it to do. Because there's also this aspect of it, right? We have to kind of teach AI what we want it to do. It's not just kind of, turn the computer on and it does it. No, we have to kind of teach it what it is that we want it to do. So it's not like AI is going to replace us all tomorrow. Okay, it might replace a lot of jobs, but it's going to take some time. We don't need to get worried about it just yet, maybe. Actually, on this note as well, talking about how, maybe people having to learn AI, do you think this is going to be like a standard skill that people will have in the future? Let's say in 50 years' time. Do you think saying that you have AI skills or you have, I don't know, I don't even know how to call this skill. AI knowledge, AI preparation, AI training, AI fluency maybe? I think that's what they used in the article, right? They talked about, I don't know if they used another term. Yeah, fluency maybe in AI. Do you think this will become like a skill that people use on their resume in the same way that at the moment they might say, for example, I'm familiar with Excel and Word and these kinds of things? Do you think it's going to be a necessary skill though, or do you think it's going to be like an extra bonus skill?
I'm sorry. I didn't get the question. Can you please repeat it?
Don't worry. I think it was my question because Konstantin's also quiet. So let's say AI, fluency in AI, let's call it. In the future, do you think fluency in AI will be like a bonus skill that you can offer to employers, or do you think it will be a necessary skill, kind of the thing that they would expect everybody to have? Konstantin, you said necessary?
Yes, I tried to write it and I'm not sure it's correct. So we live in such special kind of time, and using of AI, it is absolutely became our needs, because I just see the efforts and the attempts to popularize it. And we have a lot of article even here in our classes, or maybe in our sessions. We have a lot of topics about AI, and that's why a lot of people make attempts to popularize it and make it more popular and widely spread. So I think maybe 1 or 2 years further we have to use it, and we will have no choice. It's just like maybe for example, every people should have a social network, and then you look a new job, HR check your networks, and maybe HR using AI check your networks, social networks, and maybe analyze your personality or something like that. So it is reality, and in future I think using AI will be some special skill, and moreover now we have some special it's a specialist to I would like to say AI create a lot of workplace, and it is also people who working with developed it, and it means this technology. They people who develop it maybe have big expectation and big plans to using it, and so for now I have to say using AI will be necessary during 1 or 2 years, and I will try to avoid it, but if it will be possible only. So there are a lot of things we can't avoid. For example, we should earn money, we should do something to survive, and do something to our living, and we even not thinking about we have another opportunities. So this is the reality, and have to be flexible to survive, because the system, if you not compatible with system, they throw you away and you will die as poor people. And so we have to maybe adapt for the situation and for changing of situation, and the question is, it is not about our willing, because we have no choice, so it's about we talking before, it's change or die, and maybe no choice now for people. So if you don't like AI, you don't like to survive or something like that. Thank you.
It sounds very funny when you talk about I forget the exact phrase that you use, but the idea if you're not compatible with the system, it will be kind of discarded. And it is strange to think about it that way, because we don't think of humans as being, we like to not think that we're a system, that we want to feel like we're different from machines, but it's kind of true in a way. Even though it might not be like a mechanical system that we normally think of when we think of systems, we are kind of part of a system. And I guess if we aren't compatible, if we don't have the right skills or the right information or the right whatever it is we need to be able to kind of work and live, then okay, it's going to be pretty difficult for us. So I think it might be kind of like a very necessary basic skill that, companies kind of assume that a lot of people will have. Maybe not now, but let's say in 50 years' time. Yusuf, what do you think about this? Do you think it'll be more of a necessary or bonus skill?
I believe it's a necessity. Not probably it's not for the next or upcoming years. I'm referring to the I would say like time is very close, Natasha. Like next year, second year, or near future. Yeah, I believe it's not in for the near future. Yeah, in the coming years or in the coming years, but I believe probably, as you mentioned, probably 10 to 15 years. Yeah, you must have some AI at least understanding. And probably is going to be like a certification that prove this, or you need to prove this, I believe, because how you are going to be understand how machine working if you don't know this. And basically the company is going to have a competition, which company going to work with AI, because it's going to have the philosophy of company is time, right? And the more AI you involve or include you involve in your company, which means you are not going to waste much time on meaningless activities. So time equal money, and company, the main purpose is money. The more you get, the better you are. So I believe that in this world of competition, no company want to be very late, and it's not going to be a very easy, and the result going to be failure if you don't compete with these companies. They are going to pay a lot of money even to have AI in their to include AI in their company and their system, which means you, as a worker, as an employee over there, you need at least to understand some degree how AI works. Probably are going to be interact with a lot of machine. Probably are going to have a good knowledge of programming, Python, for example, language, any language that include, or let's say interact with this computer. You need to know. You need to know some mathematical basics, probably. So you need, yeah, I believe it's going to be a necessity for in this concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, maybe this leads us into the other idea that they were talking about in the article as well. The fact, like the new jobs and the new areas that will actually be developed, or that the new jobs that are going to appear because of this too. Konstantin?
Thank you so much. And I agree with Yusuf, but let me ask you a question, ask you all a question. For example, if you don't like mathematics and you feel like a humanitarian person, for example, you're a painter or something like that, and what left to you? What you should do if you feel it is not your way to feel satisfy using AI, for example. So, what that kind of people should do? For example, people working with ground, some agriculture or something like that, and they don't interested in some scientific invention and AI. So, what will be with it? People they die, and they will be some marginal people in our society, or what is the future of people kind of that? For example, for me, excuse me, and I would like to add, I'm happy one who don't have Facebook, for example. And if I go to a new job place, people ask me why, how it possible, and it's absolutely, it looks like deviation. It's nowadays looks as a deviation. But for me, it's maybe normal process, and we have as people a choice, and we have a choice to use AI or don't use AI, and I'm hope it is not about the only choice, change or die, but maybe it's some additional choice we have. So that's my answer, and would you please answer? Thank you. That's my question. Excuse me.
I don't think these people are going to be necessarily like pushed out, I don't think they're going to kind of like die out because, AI has become bigger. I think there are probably two different things here. One, that they can use AI to do the type of things that they don't really like doing. So, for example, maybe you have an artist who loves painting, loves doing all those things, maybe is very popular. A lot of people love their artwork, but they hate the whole side of like having to sell it, having to, post it online, having to, write descriptions of it, to have to discuss it with people. Maybe they hate that part of it. AI could do that part of it so that they can focus on the part that they like, the actual painting and creating and the artistic side. And AI can take care of those kinds of things that are maybe still required for them to be able to make a living from it, but they don't really enjoy so much. Remember that idea of like AI kind of being an assistant? This is how I kind of see it. We get the AI to do the stuff that we don't like or to, make things faster so that we can concentrate on the things that do need our creativity and do need like a person's touch and do need, our kind of like personal section for it. I think as well, even with other things, like you mentioned agriculture, I think AI could be used to make things easier. So again, people can focus on the parts that they do like. It doesn't mean that they have to use it, it's up to them that whether they use it or not. But if it makes something faster, why not? Like in the past, okay, if we had to do like a mathematical calculation, for example, we'd have to get maybe like pen and paper and sit down and do some, some long, complicated calculations to maybe work out whatever it is we're trying to work out. And then we had a calculator. Fantastic. That could kind of help us out. Maybe we still used pen and paper a little bit, but the calculator did part of it for us. Oh, now we can just say to AI, I want to know this. Can you calculate? Here's the data. Can you calculate it for me? And, in a few minutes, they've got it all calculated it for you. So I don't think it's necessarily pressure, and I don't think it necessarily means that you're not useful anymore. It just means that you can focus your energy on the things that do need like a human's energy and leave some of those other tasks to AI so that you've got more time to work on the other things. I don't think that you're necessarily going to disappear if you don't want to use it. I think it might be more difficult maybe at work sometimes. But if you say that you're not going to use it at all, for example, if you went into any workplace right now and said, I don't use a computer. I don't know how to use a computer. I don't know how to even turn the computer on. I don't know anything about computers. Okay, there are still jobs out there that you don't need to use a computer, but you're going to limit the amount of things that you can do, right? So I think it's maybe that way. Maybe if you refuse to use it at all, you could maybe limit yourself in some areas, but I don't think it'll be like a necessity that you have to use it to kind of exist. I don't know. Youssef, what were your thoughts about this?
I think, as you mentioned, Natasha, like there will be still something to do and to work on, but your possibilities and opportunities going to be less than someone who know how to work with them or with AI, for example, in this case. So yeah, it's going to be very challenging for people. They are not adaptable, flexible. And this is how reality is going to be, I believe. So, and as I'm going to say, that in the history, when we look at the history, there are some things that we didn't like, but we're supposed to do it, and we need to do it in order to survive. Not a lot of people, they like to work, for example, 9 to 5 work, but they're still doing it. And when you ask them, they are not satisfied, but they still have to do it. So yeah, I believe that it's going to be at some degree a necessity, but for others, they don't try to be flexible. They probably have less chance. That's it. So thank you, Natasha, for mentioning this this aspect, because I do agree with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Constantine, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, and I would like to repeat it. For my personal opinion, it is for people with no imagination. Thank you.
Okay, we might have to agree to disagree then. Well, let's stop here for today. But I think we were able to have good conversation about this. I think there was one aspect of it from the article that we didn't quite have a chance to talk about, which was the idea maybe about like accuracy and biases and how maybe it could be helpful in that way. But if you do want to add something else, or you've got something that you want to share about that, I'll put the link here in the thread, and you can always leave some ideas or some thoughts about that aspect of it there as well. And we can continue the conversation a little bit longer. But thank you both. I hope you both enjoyed it, and I will hopefully talk to you both again soon. Bye.